Hoffman here. So I keep hearing from Democrats that all they have to do is make it through the midterms. And Trump gets a couple years to do what he's doing, and that traditionally the country gets sick of it and they go back to the other party in the next term, and the House will pick up seats, and Hakeem Jeffries will then take over as the majority leader in the Congress. Johnson will lose his position, and Democrats will get to go into impeachments of Trump, and that he better enjoy his domination of all three houses while he can, because he's going to lose it, because they all lose it. Obama lost it, Bush has lost it. Everybody loses at the midterms of the first term of president, and that's what Democrats are saying. That's what Republicans are saying, that they're holding their nose and just saying, just wait until the midterms and all this nonsense will go away because people will vote in Democrats. I don't think so. I think all that's a lot of wishful thinking based on historical precedents that has never seen an effort like what we're seeing now. And I think Republicans are going to pick up House seats and Senate seats, and I don't think that people are going to vote for Democrats at all. I don't think they have any viable path to gain seats in either house, the House or Senate. And here's why. If I was Republicans, there's one thing you can do to secure that you're not going to lose seats, and Trump don't have to lose a majority. If you prevent election fraud, like I say all the time, Democrats aren't going to win. They can't win elections. Their entire political party depends on election fraud to stay in power or to gain seats. If you force a policy where you have to have voter ID, just as a criteria, if you can force that, Democrats won't be able to cheat the elections. And a lot of these close races that they steal in every election, they're not going to be able to do. And I'd say that there was a lot of election fraud in 2024. And the only reason that the Republicans didn't gain more seats in the House and Senate is because of election fraud, and some of those close races tipped the Democrats over the Republicans artificially. And if you guard that, you're going to win more elections. And I don't think if you stay on the election fraud frontier and protect protect elections with voter ID, I don't think that Democrats can win anything. Now, they know they have to have election fraud in order to win anything. It's a tongue-in-cheek understanding they all have. But if everybody keeps focused on the election fraud front, I think that Republicans pick up seats in both the House and Senate, and I think the majority gets greater, not smaller. And I think Trump's mandate only continues to grow, and everybody hopes that people are going to be steered away from Trump with volatile stock market news or tariff issues and things that the world's pushing back on, all these court cases where these judges are trying to halt the deportation policies and try to make Trump as much of a lame duck as possible by holding things with court proceedings, and that people will get frustrated and steer away from the reform. That's the hope, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to find that people will, the more they try to harm Trump's ability to do the job that he was elected to do, the angrier people are going to get, and the more volatile the people they pick to do those positions in the future will be. And I don't think you're going to see that. I think people will wish in the future for another Trump, because I don't think you're going to go back to a bunch of lame duck soothsayers who will do anything to sit in the White House, including appease any powerful personalities that are out there paving the way for easy profits to manipulate the system. I think people have rejected that. They've identified where the threats are, and they voted for Trump for a reason. And they're voting for congressional and Senate candidates that are out there who are going to shake it up and represent them and not all these special interests. So I don't see the genie ever going back in the bottle. I don't think these upcoming midterms, I don't think Republicans are going to lose the House. I think there's a huge opportunity to win more seats and to make it so that Democrats could never, ever get out from underneath this thing, because their platform is so horrendous. They don't have a quick way to get anywhere, and I don't see them getting it together between now and the next election, because it takes a long time to get people to change their mind. People have decided that Democrats are not good for America. They're anti-American, and they're causing more trouble than they're worth, and I don't see them beating Republicans in a fair fight. So if Republicans want to win, then make sure the fight stays fair. Make sure you have a fair elections as much as possible. Let whoever wins win, but I think history shows that Democrats know they can't win in a fair fight. So force a fair fight and you'll win more seats. And don't get caught up in this whole media game of, well, in the midterms every year, the presidents only get a couple of years to stay in power, then the people pick the opposition to come in and check them. I don't think that's going to happen. I think people know the game, and I think they're going to vote for more people to be in there. We would have had them this time if people had guarded better the elections at a lot of those little districts where it was close, and the Democrats snuck away in the middle of the night and got it with a bunch of phony ballots. And you find out that the places where the cheating occurred were places where there wasn't voter ID, where a lot of illegal immigration was padding up the voting count, and you had 200 or 300 extra thousand people here and there voting that should have never even been voting for those things, and they vote for Democrats because there's a lot of election fraud, and you have to guard it carefully. And if you don't, well, then you do lose elections. But I think if you force the fair fight, you're going to find that Republicans only pick up seats; they don't lose seats, and that's a simple math commitment. That if you do it, Trump can maintain the kind of trajectory he's been enduring, and we've seen a lot of great things happen. And it's going to take more than a few years to make all those great things happen. But people are going to have to vote for representation that doesn't end up trying to impeach him every time the wind blows. And that's what you're going to get if you don't get control of the election fraud. And Democrats are just holding their nose, hoping they get a chance to stop the Trump agenda with another election. If they can sneak in the middle of the night and get enough people pushed over the top to gain control of the House again. I don't think they're going to have a chance to get control of the Senate, but they're going to target the House. They're going to hope that they can stop Johnson, and it really comes down to us, and are people going to be suckered by it? And my contention is they won't be. I think people are smarter and much more wise to the matter than they used to be, and I think this is a trend where in the next midterm elections, Republicans have an opportunity to pick up a supermajority if they play it right and force the fair fight. Because that's what you got to do. If you want to keep Trump doing what he's been doing, you got to get behind the congressional races to protect the House from insurrection by the Democrats, because they're plotting and scheming as we speak, because that's their only hope. It's the only thing they have left on the clock. It's kind of like when your favorite sports team is trying to come from behind in a victory, and you sit on the edge of your seat hoping somebody makes a mistake and that you could score some last minute points. That's the way Democrats are right now, and it does happen sometimes where a miracle basket gets shot with a buzzer beater, or there's no time left on the clock and a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, someone catches it, or a Hail Mary. It does happen, but it's not normal. And normal politics right now says that Democrats are in deep trouble. It's an insurmountable problem for them to have. It would take an act of freak nature for them to gain anything. And I think the trajectory based on today is that they're going to lose more seats than win, and they're not going to gain control of the House. But if we allow election fraud to occur, and that's the only chance they have left with no time on the clock, and that's their last hope. And the way you beat your opponents in those kinds of situations is you take away their hope and crush them forever and make sure they can never get up off the map. And the way to do that is to guard your elections, force them to beat you in an honest election where there's voter ID and not a lot of stuffed ballots that get introduced in all kinds of suspicious ways that can then had the numbers in their favor so they could steal elections like they've been doing for many decades. And like they did the last election, they certainly did the election before that one, and they plan to do it this time, hoping they get away with it. And it's all in Republican control whether that happens or not. And I think we can control our own destiny if we prevent that and make them fight you fair, because they can't win. Anyway, Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you ever read my book, Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Have a good day. See you later.